Welcome everybody, my name is Michael, and today we're discussing about how I applied to 1,000 jobs, actually way more. I lost track. I don't know how much. I know I applied through Indeed. I know I applied through LinkedIn. I know I went to individual company websites. Some companies I had to apply multiple times. Over the course of 1 year, I know with Chase Bank, I applied 9 separate times and they rejected me every single time. They actually led me on. I had a second round interview twice with them because it's different branches. So that's why it's like, oh, that's why it's 9 in districts and whatnot. Same thing with like Bank of America, although I never got invited to any of them. I got rejected 7 times, I believe. There was a couple banks that did say yes, and then you go on to the second round and the third round, and it's like, okay, well, this is taking a little bit. Chase told me, yes, our process can take 4 to 8 weeks, and then after that, I knew that was pretty much it. It was over. So with the banks, probably in total over 50 applications, maybe even over 70, 80, I don't know. I lost track. But banks were only a split decision after I worked in sales for many years, for over 3 years in car sales. I also might have a little bit of sales experience with my previous experience, but more so that was marketing. Marketing and sales kind of go hand in hand. So altogether, the best way to phrase it is I have over 7, 8, really actually it's now over 8 years of customer service experience. Included in that is sales and marketing and a variety of things where I was an advisor for cryptocurrency projects. And all throughout the time, I've had like 8 different jobs within the past couple years, which is absolutely crazy. And on top of that, I had a bunch more part-time jobs and whatnot. And really, when we take a look at the past 10 years of my life, I probably worked with over 20 different companies on either part-time or full-time gigs. And then when we're talking about contract work, before with the cryptocurrency companies, I would say in total, probably closer to 100 different companies. Now, those were small little projects and contracts and whatnot, but I've tried it all. I've worked at a warehouse. I've served food. I've served beer. I've sold cars. I did marketing for projects and for individuals, and I worked as a freelancer. I worked as a social media manager. I worked as a manager for companies where I helped write white papers for ICOs. I helped with hiring. I helped with onboarding influencers. I've sold my own product. I was a founder of my own little startup marketing company where I had to cold call clients and then sell them on my social media services, among other things. I had to learn a lot of new skills where I never really had any idea what I was doing. I was a delivery driver for pretty much every single application you could think of, both in Europe and in America. So I've tried it all. I used to be a lifeguard. There was a bunch of jobs, random jobs I've tried. I was in car sales, both a salesman, F&I in training for a couple of months, for half a year, where we were kind of the one and all does it, one-stop shop here, where we would, at one dealership, go around the vehicles and take photos and help with appraisals, and you're the salesman, but then you're also the finance manager. Then you're sometimes also the porter, gassing up and cleaning up the cars, and you were pretty much doing everything, and that's okay. I learned a lot through that, especially with F&I training. Then I tried BDC, which is digital sales, online sales. You're the support staff for sales. So there's certainly been a number of jobs I've had over the past couple of years, and there's a lot of different resumes I can build, and that's exactly what I did. I built a couple different resumes, and I've applied for different industries. I've applied for marketing. I've applied for sales. Those are the big 2 ones, because I have, when we're talking about social media management experience, more than 4 years of social media experience where I have built and created huge viral channels where I've been able to flip them. I've been reselling. I've bought certain usernames and flipped them as well. I did advertisement campaigns, pretty much everything you can think of. The only problem was most of it was either as a freelancer or when I was younger. I wasn't working for any company. I wasn't even freelancing. I was doing things for fun, and oh, this channel went viral. Let me sell advertisements on it, or oh, let me just sell the channel because I received an offer. So when we go way back, I have a bunch of experience. The problem is it's all over the place. It's all scattered, and most of my really good experience either was in car sales or before when I was in cryptocurrency, but the market has changed so drastically since then that you have to have these hard skills, especially in cryptocurrency. They're looking for developers. They don't care about marketers and salesmen. They can find them anywhere. So in that industry, it's very difficult to find a corporate job because it's a small niche industry. And now, since it's been developed, well, they're looking for people with these hard skills or years and years of experience because they pay very well. And I understand that. And they're also looking for people with degrees. I've had so many interviews over the years where I thought I was going to get close to getting a great job, and then it fizzled out. So I decided to finish school. I haven't finished school yet. This is the 4th time. I've dropped out of college 3 separate occasions. Those were all in person. This time I'm doing it online, and I'm actually going to finish. I have 1 semester left, so we're finally getting there. Now, I have adjusted my resume for certain positions. For the easiest ones, I thought, personally, with years of salesmanship, I can get a sales position, a corporate sales job. Screw banking. I didn't like banking. That was terrible. And it was retail car sales, retail banking, worked at Costco, retail, serving hot dogs. Retail is, well, retail. It's not going to be fun. There's going to be certain things you may not like about it. And I decided, hey, let's spruce up the resume. The reason I did this was because I sent out already hundreds of applications and I wasn't getting results. Or at least not the results I wanted. And they weren't great. Like last year, it was really, really tough finding a job. And that's why I went from one dealership to another for 2 weeks. Then I went to another and stayed there up until this year, where this year, at the very beginning of this year, the traffic died down. It was my worst month ever in car sales. And the next month I was severely struggling. That's why I was panicking and was like, well, let's find something stabler. And banking was stabler. But I still wasn't making enough money. I was still in debt. And the first job I took, I was basically lied to about the position. Oh, you're going to be a baker. Where really I was a teller and the earnings weren't that great. The next position I went to, well, it's a whole story in itself. But I sent out over 1,000 different applications, hundreds and hundreds of sales positions for corporate sales. At a later point, I was like, all right, well, this isn't going anywhere. So let's just do non-corporate, well, like smaller local companies and whatnot, even out of state, different states for different companies. I had even referrals for some of these companies, and everyone's like, oh, build your network. If you have a referral, someone who's actually worked there for years, and you still can't get the position, then you're like, what the heck? I mean, I even applied for construction, where my buddy is, has years and years of experience in construction, and he referred me, and I didn't get accepted. Obviously, I have zero experience, and I was very frank with them, but it's very tough to find any job right now. Any job. I mean, at one point, I got so depressed, sad, maybe not depressed, very saddened by my situation, wrong vocabulary, by the fact that I was rejected or ghosted, really, by almost every company you could think of. I started applying for part-time positions. I was like, let me just get a part-time job. Oh, well, I like Trader Joe's. Let's apply there. Rejected. Oh, I like, Menards. Rejected. Oh, I like this store. Rejected. And you see, like, so many rejection emails. Or you don't even hear anything. You don't get anything. With, like, the banks, I would cold call. Well, not cold call, because I talk with these managers, and I'd text them, I'd email, I'd call, like, hey, is there any update? Boom! They were ignoring me. That's it. And they were saying, oh, you're a fantastic candidate. You're going to totally get this job. And they string you on, and boom, you don't get the job. And you go into 3rd round and 4th round interviews, and you're like, what's going on here? And then my wife, who already has a bachelor's degree, and she's working on her master's, also had similar stories. She would get to the 3rd round interview. She would get farther than me with these nice, really nice corporate companies, and then she would get ghosted. And then, oh, we found a different candidate that's better. And it's like, okay, well, if someone who's working on their master's degree, who already has that bachelor's degree, can't get a position as well, I'm sure with enough trial and error, she probably would. And she's working for an industry in accounting where they need accountants, especially right now, So it's tough. It's just a tough environment right now. One thing I wanted to, because I was rambling for a little bit, one thing I wanted to come back to was I adjusted my resume where I said, you know what? I finished school. That's it. A small little lie, right? I'm close. I'm accelerating. yeah, I have one semester left, but just out of curiosity, I put, I'm finished. That's it. I'm finished. Will that change anything? Nope, it didn't change anything. I lied about some other things on the resume. I extended dates. I changed titles. I did whatever I thought would get me a job. Nothing. Nothing worked. I mean, these are small white lies. I'm not going to be like, well, actually, I was the general manager. I'm not going to be lying about stuff like that. Oh, instead of 3 months, I worked there 2 years. Obviously, that's stuff they could easily later find through the background check. But if you worked at a position and technically your responsibilities were extended, but your title, you never got promoted or whatever in a certain company, you could just change it yourself. They're not really looking at the title. They're not looking, I mean, if you were actually doing these responsibilities, come on. Or if you're like, well, I got, hired on the 29th of the month. Well, you worked there the entire month. That's okay. Or sometimes maybe you'd add an extra month. Like, come on, that stuff, that's not going to hurt you. But just wanted to see, like, is the fact that I'm not a bachelor's graduate stopping me from getting this job? Nope, not at all. And then I was like, okay, sales, well, you're going to have a lot of unqualified people who are applying for these sales positions. How would I know? Because a long time ago, I put up a job listing, not for myself, but for a company I was associated with, and it was for a position that was a non-sales position. And it was a position that required good experience, good candidates who actually know what they're doing. And you kind of needed a bachelor's degree. You needed certifications. You certainly needed years of doing that specific niche. Well, the job applicants that we received were, wow, this was a wide gamut here. It was something crazy. I've never seen anything like this. People were applying who had zero right to be applying for that job. It's kind of like if I applied for a chemical engineer right now. I mean, this was a position that was in finance, where, related to accounting and stuff, where, I'm sorry, if you've never worked as an accountant, never worked with HR, never worked with, payments or anything of that sort, if you're in sales and you're applying for an accountant without a degree, without any certifications, with no training whatsoever, even for entry level, you're probably not going to get that job. But the problem was, this wasn't an entry level position. So seeing that perspective, where I was the one just posting that job application and seeing all these spam applications, I see both sides of the coin, where I was applying for positions where on LinkedIn it would say 24 hours later, there's over 1,000 applicants. And you're like, okay, this is crazy. I applied for Apple. Apple took more than 6 months to respond for a part-time position. A part-time position at Apple, mind you. They wanted a group interview. First thing is group interview. And you're like, ugh, that's not good. For $22 an hour, which from retail, again, isn't bad. It's certainly not bad for the area. It's a good number. But the fact that it's part-time and you need to, it's kind of like Costco. They hire everybody for part-time and then you have to prove yourself and then you get full-time and whatnot. Well, I was very hesitant about the group interview. But then I found out that's not going to be the only group interview. You might have another group interview, and it's going to be like the big branches. Well, you go to one branch and one store location, they say, that's not for you. They send you to another store, and it's like, why are there multiple rounds for a part-time retail position? At maximum 2. But I'm sorry, if it's 3 or more, that's it. I'm not even going. I didn't even go. I found that out, and I was like, nope, that's fine. I had an Uber. This was the second time Uber reached out to me. I had recruiters and headhunters and whatnot, and people who worked at these companies who actually reached out to me throughout this entire process for sales positions. I thought, okay, I have recent sales experience. With marketing, the problem was that marketing experience was a couple of years ago. So I would have to do a resume where it says current experience and then the applicable experience that actually, here I was a social media manager and I was a head of marketing for a small startup and whatnot. So relevant experience. With the sales positions, I thought, okay, this is going to be easier. I was still working as a salesman at the time. I was working in sales. I had years of sales experience. And the person came to me. And I thought, easy peasy. Well, the first time Uber did that. I got rejected after the first round. Second time, after the first round, it seemed like, okay, we're going to the second round. And I found out, oh, there's 5 more rounds. 5 more rounds, of which you'll have a panel interview with, one of them is going to be over an hour and a half. I had an interview that lasted over 3 hours. Over 3 hours, I had entry-level positions that send you to these stupid applications. I'm sorry, this is so dumb. This is such a waste of time. I filled out so many personality assessments and these little games they play with you, and I'm just tired. I'm sick and tired of it all. It sucks. The only industry that I can seemingly get hired at is super entry level, either banking or dealerships. But banking, most of them, 99% of them reject me regardless, or lead me on, like Chase did. And with dealerships, most dealerships will be open to the idea if I could get myself in front of a set of eyes. So that's why dealerships are kind of it's kind of easy, because with dealerships, you can walk in, and at that point, it's a sales position. If you can sell yourself, you don't even need to apply through the website. I mean, maybe for HR purposes later, if it's a giant corporation, because there are some dealerships where it's like huge corporations and whatnot own them across many states, then I get it. But there's situations where you can just walk in and they might hire you for the next week. And it seems like that's the only industry that's willing to hire me. And the problem is with car sales, a lot of these corporate sales positions, they treat car sales like, ooh, yeah, that's sales. And I would say it's more difficult from what I've heard. Yeah, you have to cold calls and SDR and some of these corporate sales positions. Okay, that's not comfortable. But you have a lot more crazy situations, I'd say, in car sales. Some people who worked corporate sales and car sales have admitted, you know, the top 3 sales that are entry level, that are super hard. And if you get the right manager from a corporate position, they might look at you more favorably than someone with entry-level sales experience, but, you know, it's less than a year, and they just graduated and they barely have the experience, while you have years of car sales experience, or phone sales, or B2B, I'm sorry, not B2B, door-to-door sales. Those 3 are entry-level, yes, but they're very difficult. Very difficult. It's in person. It's getting out there. You have to knock on doors. You have to cold call. And with car sales, there's a huge stigma associated with that. So there's some people that it looks great. For most people, there's going to be a huge stigma with that, and they're going to judge you, and based off that, they're going to reject you or throw you into the other pile. And it's like, oh my God, you know, it's crazy. Do I seriously need to go for a master's degree? And probably that's not even going to help me. It's like, I just don't understand. I lost track of how many applications I've sent out, but that's the job market. So the grass isn't greener on the other side. I don't know. I really don't know. I've had so many clients that I looked at their LinkedIns. All the successful clients I've had, of course I'm going on their LinkedIns. Of course I'm looking them up. I'm curious, you know, how are you able to pay for a $100,000 car in cash? And I look up your address and wow, it's a $2 million house. And some of these people are younger. And I'm like, you know, I asked them, and obviously we have good rapport, and I chat with them, and I looked them up, and some of them got their first great job straight out of college. And some of them did go to Ivy Leagues and great universities, but some just went to your average Joe Schmo college around the corner, and they got a great job. And I don't know, maybe it took them forever to find that first great job, or maybe they had family that were able to get them in, or I'm sure there was some way, maybe 50% luck, 50% super hard work. But some of these people, it seems like they got amazing jobs, and then they went from that amazing job to another amazing job, and they had like 2 or 3 jobs, and now they're making, you know, $100, $200, $300, $500,000. I've had clients make over $1 million, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. That some of them obviously typical, you know, doctors, lawyers, business owners, but some of them you're like, wow, that is certainly interesting. And you try and learn and stuff, but I don't know, this economy sucks, and this job market sucks. And I mean, I've done well over 50 interviews in my entire life. I don't know the number. Soon I'll probably be past 100 interviews. Maybe I'm already close. I don't know. The ratio of interviews from the applications is just insane. So that is that. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And please share your job experiences or job hunting experiences or interview or resume or anything you want to discuss that's on topic. Please let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great one and take care.